Okay, great. So hello everyone, and welcome to this joint webinar between ADA and the SOA that's focusing on the SOA pathways. So for those of you that might not know, my name's Yvonne Palm and I'm one of the co-founders of ADA. And ADA stands for the African Actuarial Development Academy. We exist to catalyze the development of the actuarial profession across Africa, and we do this across multiple pillars, including professional development, which focuses on practical experience for professionals, educational development, which focuses on strengthening universities and supporting corporates to be able to adequately support their actuaries, tutorials for exams, and also mentorship for actuaries and actuarial candidates. So just before I turn to introduce the topic, there are some housekeeping items. So this is intended to be an interactive webinar, so please feel free to use the chat for discussions and comments and use gestures to appreciate the discussion. The best place to put your questions is in the Q&A. We will try to monitor the chat as well, but if you do not want your question to be lost, please use the Q&A. Also, there is French translation available. La traduction en français est disponible. I hope I got that right. So please use the controls either at the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen to select French as the output if you would like to listen to the webinar in French. So today we're focusing on the SOA pathway. We have a presentation from Zain Ibrahim from the SOA who will run through the pathway, followed by a panel of actuaries from Africa that are at different stages of the pathway who will be sharing their experiences. This panel is moderated by Ibidapo, who himself is an ASA based in Nigeria and also has some interesting stories of his own to tell. We're looking forward to hearing all the nuggets of wisdom and learning from the experiences of the panel. So last but not least, we do have 2 SOA exam waivers to give away. Yay. So there's a competition going on during the session. We'll be monitoring interaction, we'll be monitoring the questions. So 2 lucky people who give us really good questions and interact with the webinar will win these exam waivers at the end of this, and it's for either exam P or exam FM. To be able to win, please do make sure that your name is clearly displayed on your Zoom profile so we can see who you are. And if your name isn't properly displayed, please, whenever you make a comment or submit a question, please make sure your name is in there. So with that, I am going to hand over to Zain to give the presentation about the SOA pathway. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from. And thank you for joining us. My name is Zain Ibrahim. I am the Regional Director for the Society of Actuaries based out of the Dubai office. We have a Dubai office and we have staff in Dubai that actually takes care of and serves the Middle East, African, and the South Asian region. Today, I'm going to talk about, of course, one of the most rewarding and resilient careers available to mathematically inclined students, which is actuarial science. I'll also share how the Society of Actuaries can support you throughout your actuarial journey. So with that, let's begin. So I'll briefly introduce Society of Actuaries to specifically, if you're not aware of what society stands for and all of that. We'll then discuss why actuarial science is such an attractive career option, what makes the SOA pathway unique, and how students can begin their journey towards becoming credentialed actuaries. And then I'll share some of the resources and support available to help you succeed. All right. The Society of Actuaries is the world's largest professional organization. We have something like more than 35,000 credentialed actuaries as members, and over 38,000 candidates worldwide. Our roots are, if you go way back to 1889, we have a long history of developing actual talent and advancing the profession globally. While we have our headquarters in Chicago, we have multiple offices throughout the world. We have had a Beijing office and Hong Kong office for a long time, and of course Dubai and Singapore added recently. A little bit about the SOA in MEASA, Middle East, Africa, and South Asian region. We all know the actual profession is growing rapidly across this region. The SOA supports this growth, and we support it through dedicated regional committees, lots of volunteers in that, local staff, as I mentioned, based out of Dubai and India, professional development programs and university engagements, and we also have our annual symposiums that we host in different cities. We've had one in Dubai, had two in a row in Riyadh. Then we went to Cairo last year, and again we intend to have it in Riyadh in October this year. And the goal is simple: just to help develop the next generation of actuaries and support employers and stakeholders across the region. All right, most important question: so why become an actuary? And actuaries help organizations. We know. They help organizations understand and manage risks. We also know that they use mathematics, statistics, finance, and data analytics to solve real business problems, real life business problems. So in a world facing increasing uncertainty, and we've seen this from the recent events. And even in the past as well, from financial risks to climate risks to emerging technologies, actual skills have always been felt valuable, and they've always contributed significantly towards the well-being of the financial sector. The actual science consistently ranks amongst the world's best careers. You might ask why, because it offers an excellent combination of, I would say, intellectual challenge, strong and very lucrative, I would say, compensation structure, career stability is, and I think the most important thing is always been in demand, and that was true 20 odd years ago when I joined the profession. It's still very, very true, and across the region, you see actually is being in demand. And I think there are very few professions that combine the analytical rigor, the business impact, and the career security in the way actual science does. And that's reflected in actual science being in the top professions, top jobs, across every year and across many industries, and then even the latest rankings show that. Where do actuaries work? That's a question that we hear a lot, and so many people associate actuaries with insurance. Well, that's true, and insurance remains a major and primary employer of actuaries. Today's actuaries work in many different fields: banking, investments, consulting, enterprise risk management, healthcare, pensions, and data analytics as well. The skill set to develop as an actuary is highly transferable, and that's something that we emphasize a lot. A little bit about the SOA value proposition. I won't go into a lot of details, just to give you an idea of the value of proposition SOA offers. First of all, SOA credentials are globally recognized and provide strong international mobility. We have maintained relatively consistent pass rates over time, and that actually provides candidates with a predictable examination experience, which is very important. There are many multinational and offshore employers who value SOA credentials because of the sort of global perspective that those credentials provide. We also have members, they have access to extensive research, PD, professional development, and opportunities to interact and knowledge share. And of course, we do help them create industry-leading content. And then there are other things like, we've seen that first of all, there's flexibility in terms of both the ending points. We've seen many candidates achieve significant career success after their ASA credential, and they stop at that. But there are others who continue to fellowship. So depending on the circumstances, you still get a lot of value out of the credentials. And students also benefit from other stuff like mentoring opportunities, and then we have free affiliate membership, which I'll talk about later, which helps them sort of build professional networks. And of course, we don't, for our students, we don't have any membership fees or anything like that. It's quite helpful. A little bit of about the benefits of the SOA pathway. The SOA pathway actually prepares students, I would say, not just for the technical actual knowledge, and that's very important, but we also realize that the world that we're living in, analytical communication and business skills are as important. So that's where we are putting our emphasis on. We also realize that the profession is evolving rapidly, and employers are increasingly value actuaries who can combine sort of technical expertise with adaptability, communication, and recently data science capabilities as well. So all of this is now reflected in the modern SOA curriculum. And now we'll talk about the SOA credentialing pathway. This is a figure that this slide, a figure that we show frequently, and there are the 4 items here on this particular graph or picture, and I actually present this as a sort of 3, 4, 6, 1 kind of pathway. So this is the total pathway towards earning the associateship of the Society of Actuaries, or as we call it, the ASA designation. So the 3 are the first green elements, which are VEEs. These are sort of credits that you can get from your university courses in topics like economics, accounting, and finance, and mathematical statistics. Then there are 4 yellow e-learning modules. Then there are 6 blue exams. So these are the exams that are actually, you're tested on and you have to pass and so on. And then the last one is a 1-day seminar, which is an associateship professionalism course. We call it APC. And so once you complete all of these components, you get the ASA designation. Don't worry about understanding every component today, but the key message is that the pathway combines examination, the university earned credit, the VEEs, and then there are professional development modules that are in yellow, and then there are some practical applications in terms of that 1-day seminar. The ASA designation is globally respected, as we are aware, and this represents a significant milestone in an actual career. Now, A quick point about how these are distributed. So the first vertical that you see is what we call the actual science foundations, whereas there are two exams, exam financial mathematics and exam probability, two VEEs, economics and accounting and finance, and then one e-learning module, which is pre-actuarial foundations, PAF module. If you complete all of this, then you're essentially, completed the foundations, and then you move on towards the right side. So this is how we sort of, advise candidates that you complete one, then you move to the next vertical, and then you move to the next vertical, and so on. And that's how you complete the ASA designation. I'm not going to go through each of these exams or e-learning modules in the interest of time, and I think the panel will discuss more about the exams and their experiences and the journeys and stuff like that. But just to give you a little bit of flavor, in case you're interested in what exam financial mathematics mean, what probability means, and so on. So just a quick overview on that. And financial mathematics essentially covers the financial mathematics, the time value of money, and things like that. Basically trying to start this student. And this is typically one of the first actual exams students take. Sometimes they go for probability as well. We don't have any sort of specific suggestion. It depends on what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with financial mathematics, you can start from there. But a lot of times when students are learning or studying probability theory in the universities, that's the first exam they sit for. And then the VEEs are, again, as I mentioned, covering economics as micro and macro. And accounting and finance essentially covers the basics of financial accounting, corporate finance, and stuff. The PATH module is an online learning module, basically to develop actual thinking skills, professional skills, and using case studies and real world scenarios to do that. All right. Some of the distinctive characteristics that we offer, we actually have our exams, are administered at the Prometric centers. Their first two exams are actually, administered 6 times a year. And then many other later exams are offered 3 times a year. And then, e-learning modules are, of course, available on demand. As I mentioned, we offer consistent pass rates, and that's an experience that many candidates find very, enriching. And we don't have any student membership fee per se. A little bit about the support and resources that we have available for the student. I think the one thing that I do talk about a lot when I'm talking to the potential students is the affiliate membership program. We know that success in the actual profession is not something you do alone, so you do need a sort of a network, and you can draw on in terms of getting guidance and support and help. And we do provide those support services, including mentoring programs and networking opportunities and educational events, lunch and learns and stuff like that. And a lot of resources are actually candidate focused that are available within the affiliate membership program. So these services provide help and support to candidates and in terms of navigating the credentialing process and also connecting with practicing actuaries. It's a free program to join. And I think I would strongly encourage all students to explore this program. As I mentioned, there are lots of resources in this module, in this program, and it's one of the best ways to start engaging with the profession before becoming credentialed. There's some other resources that I put in here. If you're interested, and learning more about the profession and the SOA pathway, I encourage you to explore these resources. They have the detailed information there in terms of career and exam credentialing process and requirements and support. So let me conclude with one final thought. So if you enjoy mathematics, and this is again something that I talk about whenever I'm speaking with students. So if you enjoy mathematics, you enjoy problem solving, you enjoy analytics, making business decisions, or even decisions based on data, actual science is the profession worth consideration. It offers intellectual challenge, career stability, global opportunities is very important in lots of markets, and the ability to make a real impact, real impact by making, by helping organizations manage risk and uncertainty. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for your time today. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have. Over to you, Yvonne. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zane. And we'll be handing over to the panel if they can just turn on their cameras and to Lanre. But as they're doing that, just a reminder to everybody, we do have a competition going on where we'll be giving away 2 exam waivers for exam P and FM at the end of the session. You can also give them to somebody if you've already done those 2 exams. So the criteria is participation. So please participate. Please give us questions. It is best to put your questions in the Q&A so they don't get lost. So we'll be monitoring the questions, looking at the quality of questions, looking at your interactions, and we'll see who'll win at the end of the day. So with that, I will hand over to Lanre. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Yvonne. And hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. And we're glad to have you here. And I promise that you're going to enjoy yourself. We'll try as much as possible to answer all the questions that you may have here. And my name is Olanrewaju Ibidapo. Let me start from there. I'm an ASA, actively preparing to finish up my fellowship exams. And of course, I hope that by the time we're done, you know how easy or how difficult, pick your choice, or how it is to become a credentialed actuary. So before I bore you with my introduction, we have panelists here from different walks, and we'll want them to share their experiences with you so you know what to do and what you're getting into. So before I start, I want each of our panelists to introduce themselves and share where they currently are in their actuarial journey. And I'm going to start from Kevin, please.
Thank you for that. And hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Wairua, and I'm a fellow of the Society of Actuaries. I have about 7 years of experience working across health, general, and also climate insurance. And currently, I'm doing my master's at the University of Oxford. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Loïc, over to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Loïc Seniadja, and I'm an actuary in Ivory Coast, and I am in the reinsurance field, where I am in charge of life and non-life aspect. It's about pricing, reserving, optimization, and I am an ASA, and I am in the FSA general insurance track for a moment. Thank you.
Thanks, Loïc. Alia?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alia. I am an actuary from Egypt. I've passed 5 SOA exams, moving on to my last one soon. And I'm currently working in pricing and the portfolio management.
Yeah, thanks, Alia. And Hamline?
Hi, everyone. My name is Hamline Karani. I'm currently based in Kenya. I work in insurance, and I've passed 2 of the fundamentals of exams, currently preparing for fundamentals of actuarial mathematics.
Yeah, thanks, Hamline. So you can see that we have different people from different levels of the actuarial exams. different parts of Africa. So feel free to ask your questions. I'm sure we'll be able to find some bespoke responses to you as we go ahead. So first, Hamline, I'll start from you this time. What actually motivated you to start your actuarial career and begin the SOA pathway? Why the SOA and what motivated you?
What motivated me to pursue the actuarial pathway was I was good in maths from school. And then in Kenya, basically, by the time you're registering to go to campus, it is entirely dependent on what subjects you're good at. So I got to go to campus and pursue actuarial, and then now reading the modules. Then after campus, so I decided like this is what I want to do, and it aligns with what I'm interested in. And the reason why I chose SOA over the other bodies is at first I thought it is an easier journey. You know, the fundamentals exams, the fact that you have. So SOA gives you the chance to do the exams a number of times in a year, yeah. So you have like multiple chances, like 6 times to do the first 2 exams. So that was one of the reasons why I pursued it. And then it has some advantages in the developing countries. In terms of exams, the pricing is a bit discounted. And then you just have the materials that are available online. Different people are offering the materials. So as long as you can afford them, then you're set to go.
Yeah, thanks, Hamline. So you were good in maths. The discounts, I won't miss that because that's very important. The flexibility. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks. So Alia, I think I'll allow you to answer the same question. What motivated you and why the SOA?
Well, like Hamline, I was also good at maths. I really liked maths in school. So that was a criteria when I was choosing what to study in university. But when I was still in school, actually, that's when I first learned about actuarial science as a field from a friend I just met who had recently graduated university and was beginning their career. So she kind of introduced me to the whole field, told me about her job, what she does, and I found it very interesting at the time. And then when it was coming time for me to apply to universities, it just stayed with me. So I continued to pursue actuarial science. And then as for the SOA path, it was, I mean, because I studied actuarial science in university, it was kind of introduced to me from the very beginning, my first year in university, that the exams are something that I would need to pursue. So I started then pursuing the exams very early on. I think in my second year of university, I took my first one.
Yeah, thanks, Alia. You know what I like about the 2 stories? They seem to focus on the SOA. They were good in mathematics and the likes. For me, it was quite straightforward. I was good in mathematics. I can't say the same thing now, even though I'm an actuary. But another thing was I had an uncle that seemed to know a lot about the actuarial science background. Lanre, you're going to do mathematics first degree, actuarial science second degree. You're going to be, he didn't know that there was anything called a qualified actuary. Then he told me, then I fell for it. But here we are. I think it was a good choice so far. But SOA or IFOA, it was a bit of a balance. Whichever one gave me my exam pass first was the one I was going for. So it wasn't that straightforward. But thanks, Alia and Hamline. Yeah. So the next question for me is, and I think I'll ask Loïc to take this one first. You know, when you order something from the commercial workplace, what you order sometimes is not what you get. And you order something fancy on the internet, and they bring it, and you're like, how did I get myself into it? So, Loïc, you've been writing exams. So the question is, what do you think the pathway was going to be like when you started? And what has it been like for you? Do you think you're getting what you ordered?
Okay, thank you. When I begin the exam, I was thinking about, for example, it will be only for technical skills. And for me, it is to crunch the math. An actuary is a person who take the mathematics and apply to risk, and it is a person who is respected. And I think it was the things, the great things. But during the pathway, I see the reality is much more like this. I see that SOA teach about communication skills and comprehension and discipline. So it changed all my perspectives, because I see now an actuary is a person who is not technical only, but he is a problem solver, a decision maker, and with all of these aspects, he could be a person, a key person where he is. So in banking, in insurance, in consulting, so we bring many technical aspects and communication aspects to translate what we have, what we find, what we calculate.
Yeah, thanks, Loïc. So for me, I think it's a case of nobody cares how much numbers you know if you can't explain it. And as an actuary, we've learned to do that. Whether we are doing it well enough is a different story entirely, but they told us that we should do it. So thanks, Loïc. I think that's one thing that struck me. Now, Kevin, this question is for you. When did you actually figure out that, yes, I could do this? And I'm asking you that because you have your FSA now, and probably I don't know what your journey was like, but when did you just say, okay, yes, I think I can do this. I've got this. Or did you always figure out that you could do it right from the very beginning?
Yeah, I think for myself, it was a matter of taking it step by step, because there's usually a feeling when you pass an exam or even when you fail. There are two contrasting worlds. But for me, I think each and every stage was a learning process. So you do an exam, get the results, and then you see how it goes. So there's usually a good feeling, especially when you hit the major milestones of either being an associate or a fellow, because that also motivates you as you go along. And it takes also a lot of grit and a lot of motivation to get to that stage. So it was a matter of just having myself walk through it step by step and basically ensure that I'm okay with whatever happens, whether it's good or whether it's bad.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Step by step, I think that helps us every step of the way. Now, Alia, this question is for you. How did you know what exam you were supposed to do next? Did you just roll a die? You know, in probability, they'll tell you something. What's the probability that's going to give you a 6? Was that what you did? How did you know that this is the next one for me?
Tricky. Okay, so during my first few exams, because I was still in university and the content we were covering in our courses was very similar to the exam content. So when I would finish a course in university that had like the majority of the content of a specific exam, I take it. So I started with financial mathematics because that was the first sort of content we finished in university. So then it was just the first exam I took, and I kept going that way until I graduated. And then after I graduated, it was kind of a toss. What made more sense depending on the time of the year when the exam was available, and just when I could study for it.
Okay, thanks, Aleha. Thank you very much. So this one is for Hamline. And my first exam, I remember I entered the exam hall and I almost ran out. I asked myself, what exactly am I doing here? I fell for the trap that my uncle set for me. I don't think I should be here because the first 10 questions, I didn't know anything part of it. So Hamline, what did it feel like for you when you entered the exam hall, the diplomatic center for your first exam? And what has been your biggest difficulties in preparing for exam? Because you only have 24 hours a day, you're working, you have everything all together, but you still have to prepare for exams. So what has been your main difficulties and what was your first exam like in the exam hall?
So lucky for you, you could only not manage 10 questions. For me, it was the entire exam. So when I started with Exam FM, so I had the materials and everything needed, but I just didn't know the way it takes for me to pass an SOA exam. So I read the materials, familiarized myself with a few formulas, and then I registered. So going into the exam, then you're meeting questions, you're like, you barely know anything. You're struggling with the questions. So at this point, remember, I didn't do any practice questions. I didn't do any practice exams. So I was tackling the questions for the first time. And I think for SOA, as much as you have the materials, you learn a lot of content by doing the practice. So that means you have to do a lot and a lot of practice questions for you to get it right. So yeah, what worked? So I failed with that attempt. So what worked the next time I was sitting for it is, so I had, so you sit down, acknowledge your failure. So failure is not bad. I had to learn that after. Acknowledge that you failed, and then now go down, re-strategize. If it is the materials that you had that were not right, get yourself the right materials. Put in the work. And for us in corporate, you have to find a balance between work, personal responsibilities, and preparing for the exams. So that means you're sacrificing a lot of your free time. That is your leave days, your holidays, your weekends, to preparing for these exams. So the second time we're sitting for it, you have to put in the work, read, do a lot of questions. So practice worked for me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Hamline. And I think I'll just share a bit of mine because, yeah, I'm the moderator, but I think I'm also a panelist. I think I breezed through my ASA exams, and my strategy was actually very easy. Just breeze through, read and study and do whatever it is you enjoy, and maybe watch football, a lot of it, and play. Then the FSA exams came along, and I wanted to do exactly the same thing for the FSA exams. Oh, whoever knows me here knows I failed for 6 years before I passed my first FSA exam. And when I did, eventually, after I changed my strategy, I passed 2 on the bounce. So it meant that whatever was working for me on the ASA track was not working on the FSA track. So your strategy, bespoke, it has to work for you. And that's one of the reliance and limitation. If you're writing reports, the reliance and limitation part is that all of us have our bespoke experiences. You're supposed to pick your lessons and apply it to yours, not apply it exactly the way we're saying it. So thanks, Hamline. I think that makes perfect sense. So, Kevin, this one is for you. Who or what was that thing that actually made the biggest difference in your exam journey? And just to share, what was that thing that kept you motivated? You probably made a difference. It may be an event, it may be somebody. What was that thing, or who was that person?
So I'm going to speak about 2 things. One is something that has already been mentioned, which is consistency. So you need to have a plan and stick through it. It might not be the most well-defined plan, but it's something that you should be able to stick with and be consistent with over time. Because again, taking these exams might even take a 10-year period. So you need to know and understand that this now becomes part of your lifestyle and how you're going to handle that. But the second thing that most people don't realize its importance is also having a good support system. A good support system can be either your closest friends, your family, but also your fellow teammates, especially within the actuarial departments once you start working in companies. So it's always good to leverage upon such people, understand their viewpoint and also understand their journeys, what worked for them, what didn't, and see how you can adjust or adapt that to your case. So for me, it will be consistency and also having a good support system.
Yeah, thanks. Support system, very important. So for thanks, Kevin. And that works. Now, Loïc, this one is for you. You have your ASA now, and how did your perspective actually change when you got your ASA? You know, what did the milestone mean to you, and how did you feel when you eventually got your ASA?
Okay. What can I say? I think that reaching associateships, so my ASA, it represents a significant milestone for me. And before becoming an ASA, as I said, I think about technical, but after getting the ASA, I think that I have achieved the designation, and my perspective shifts toward applying actual knowledge in business and creating value for stakeholders. So it's a good point for me, and I can think that the technical discipline is here, and with ESA, I have a confidence in what in any aspect I have. So in pricing, in reserving, I have a 360-degree view on the activity. So with exam, with problem taking in different exercises, I have seen many effects to apply. So when I have a work, when I have a situation, rapidly I can have a solution and I can have the situation of this problem in all the department of an insurance company and it permits to give a different solution adapted for this. So it gives me very high confidence on my work.
Yeah, thanks, Loïc, and that makes sense. So I think I'll circle back to you, Kelvin, on this. I don't envy you one bit because after you finish all these exams and the likes, the question is, what do you exactly do with your time? Like, how do you manage? You spent pretty much a long time studying for exams. Then suddenly there are no exams to write. So how have you managed your life after your fellowship exams? What exactly do you do with your time? How has your perspective changed a bit from the calculation punching numbers to the other side of the field, which means you have to explain the difficult things that you spent so many years of your life trying to figure out to people that are not really numbers person. So how exactly have you been able to balance life after fellowship?
So my situation will be a bit different from most people because one, I did my actuarial fellowship exams while also studying for my financial risk manager certification. So sort of doubling on that. And to be honest, I didn't have a life at that point in time. And also with work and everything else, that was a bit hectic, to be honest. And then I think I attained, or I did my last exam in 2024. Is it November or December, one of the two, and got my fellowship last year. And I then joined the University of Oxford also last year. So it's not, I haven't had a break, especially from studies. And what I'm trying to do is, especially when I'm doing my master's, I'm trying to sort of live more, enjoy Oxford and enjoy its beauty. So to be honest, I'm not the right person to ask that question. But I'm hoping that this will, or like I'll get to now enjoy more of my social life, especially when I'm done with all these studies.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Thank you for breaking it down. So somebody told me that the what actuaries dread most is not actually applying what they've studied of the exams that they've written. It is what they exactly want to do with their lives after they finish writing exams. Kevin is an example of that. He finished exams, started exams again, writing exams again, and is still doing exams again. So yeah, all the best, Kevin. You chose your life. But well done. I think you're a motivation to all of us here. Now, thanks a lot. Alia, I'm back to you now. So the question is, anyone preparing for their first exam, they've heard a lot of stories, a lot of advice and the like. Somebody will tell you that the actual exams, don't even try, you may not finish. Somebody will say, yeah, just know what you want to do and you'll do well in it. Somebody say your first exam is the easiest one. The other one says the most difficult one, conflicting advice. But to you, what advice would you give somebody that is preparing for the first exam? Or maybe let me add a bit of a spice to it. Somebody that has just failed his or her first exam. What advice would you want to give the person?
Okay. Two things. First of all, when I failed an exam, it was very important for me to not go into my second sitting of the exam with the same strategy. Clearly, something didn't work in the way I was studying, in the way I was preparing for my exam. So I needed to completely change my studying strategy and not kind of continue in the same direction. So what I found worked for me really, really well was that I needed time. I found that the first time I sat for exam P, I only took about a month or 6 weeks to study. I can't remember exactly right now. But every exam I've taken since then, I've studied for 4 to 6 months prior to the exam. And I think it's also very important to set a realistic schedule. Something I was also guilty of would be just saying I'm going to study for 5 hours a day. That's not realistic. For me, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours are realistic, and having a schedule that I can easily integrate into my life, whether I'm working or studying, doing something different, whether I was in university or currently when I'm working, I needed a study schedule that could easily integrate into my life and not completely take me out of everything else that I'm doing. And as for something else that's really helped me when I failed an exam was hearing stories of other actuaries that have failed. So my professors and a lot of my friends who had also failed exams at the same time told me stories of the exams they'd failed, how they changed different strategies they'd taken to sort of like move through it. And that was something that was very beneficial to me. So I think all of the panelists that have mentioned failing can, inspire anyone who has failed that it's okay. It happens. We've probably all been through it. Very few people actually pass all of their exams on the first try. So just knowing that, I think immediately helps you pass on your second sitting.
Okay, before I'll go to Hamline to answer the questions, just to tell everyone that please keep dropping your questions and we'll get to them because we really want to give answers that are peculiar to everyone that is asking the questions. We'll take as much as we can. So please don't be discouraged. Keep dropping the questions and we'll definitely get to them in a jiffy. Thanks, Alia. Hamline, so what would you advise someone that's just starting their first exam and probably has also failed? What would be your personal advice?
I would tell them to be ready. Make sure you're ready as a person, and know that this is a path you're going to do for the next 10, 8, 5 years. And don't limit yourself to someone else's journey. Someone might tell you it took me 3 years, or I was an FSA at 25. It doesn't matter if you get to FSA at 50. So go with your own pace. Then do your due diligence, do your research, make sure you're on the right path. Then get the right material. It saves you time when you're studying with the right materials. And then just be ready to put in the work because it calls for a lot of effort for you to get through it.
Yeah, thanks, Hamline. We cannot stress the part of the right material for you enough. What works for another person will not work for another person. It's not about the material or how good it is. It's about how it applies to you and how you can relate to it. So for me, it's a case of any material that has a bit of a sense of humor for me. That's my thing. I enjoy it. But if it's too serious, then I start to zone out. So just know your conditions. So thanks a lot, Hamline. And as we round off the question for the panelists, at least from my side.
Landry?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I would like to talk about failure.
Oh yeah, we're gonna. Well, you of course you talk about it very well. So please go ahead.
Yeah, so for those who from the chat, I see most of them have already attempted and failed. Acknowledge it, like it's not the end of it. And again, just like Kevin has said, talk to people. Talk to other people in the same journey. You'll get to know, the first one to fail. Some have failed on their 6th attempt, 4th attempt, and passed. So don't be discouraged. Don't quit. Just try to move forward. Every one step will lead you to FSA.
Oh, thanks a lot, Hamline. And of course, some of us failed in the beginning. Some of us failed somewhere in the middle. Some did not fail at all. Just pick your own struggle and just ensure you get to the end. Thank you for that. Thanks. So as we round off, this will be for everybody. We are Africans at the end of the day. Of course, we have people join us from all parts of the world, but we have challenges that are, let me use the English, was customized, bespoke to us as Africans. So if you're going to give an advice to somebody starting exams in Africa, what would you give the person. And Loïc, this one is for you, especially being based in Francophone country. What would you advise someone that is taking, that's starting the SOA exams right here in Africa?
What I can say is that as Francophone, my first advice is to say that English is not a barrier. So I have discussed with many persons who are interested, and the first year is the English. So I take my example. My first exam for the first sitting, I have decided to study in French and not in the SOA material. So it will be a failure. And for the second sitting, I say that why I can use the material in English, I can read, and I can take the exam. So I have tried this exercise, and I realized that I have finished the material, the P material. I have finished this. I have finished the exercises. I was able to find the different response. So I say that it is not complicated. The English is not complicated, and after many try, you can mastering the language, and it is simple. So you don't have to be afraid. You have to leave a fear. It will be a good challenge for you, and it will help you to improve your English. So I can say that English is not a barrier. So you have to push the door, and you have to take the material to study now.
All right. Thanks, Loïc. Alia, you're based in Egypt. So what would you advise?
I would advise, anyone taking exam, I would advise that it's about discipline and not motivation. I think it's very easy to get discouraged on a journey as long as this one. I think multiple people have highlighted how long it can take. So I think it's just very important to continue to be disciplined with your exams, with your studying schedule, just to make sure that you're never going to be motivated the entire time. You're not always going to wake up motivated to study. That's just not realistic. But I think it's important to be able to stay disciplined for the entire duration of your journey.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Alia. Kevin, I think you've crossed the line to the FSA, so I think I will allow you to give your own thoughts now before we go to the Q&A.
Yeah, I think for me, it will just be to encourage the students. So Africa is growing, or the profession is growing within Africa. And it's also growing within non-traditional roles. So for example, climate insurance, agricultural insurance, and such. And your actuarial skills are still relevant in such roles. So even as you go into the job market, as you go through the papers, it will be good to see how you're building your skills to tackle Africa's unique problems, especially in areas that, for example, are non-traditional in the sense.
Thanks a lot. And I think I'll take a pause, or I will to be our last question and for the panelists. And I want to appreciate all our panelists for sharing their own thoughts and their own personalized journey, and for everyone here. For me, I won't just start mine because I'm sure there will be a lot of things to say. So we'll be going into the Q&A now, but before we go, I want to acknowledge Mr. John Robinson, past president of the SOA, who is with us here, graced us with his presence. So thank you very much, Mr. Robinson, for joining us. It's a pleasure having you here. And yes, so we go to the Q&A, and this one is
before we go, just let Mr. John Robinson just give him a few minutes to just talk about his journey. I think before we acknowledge he's here, but let's give him a few minutes to.
Good morning. At least it's morning here where I am in Minnesota. And I signed up for this session not really knowing exactly what it was, but now that I see what it is, I'm quite impressed with what's happening here. So my journey, and I'm going to start towards the end of it, because in 2021 I was elected president of the Society of Actuaries. And so I served a 3-year term. First of all, you're president-elect, and president, and past president. And so I'm the first person that looks like me, or most of you, that was so elected in the Society of Actuaries. And I'm talking an organization that started in 1889. So it was quite a privilege for me. And so just you all know that these things are not impossible. But my journey in terms of exams was not, it wasn't anything exceptional, really. For ASA, there were 5 exams at the time, and I got 4 10s and an 8. So I kind of distinguished myself with those. The mathematics and statistics sort of came naturally. But the fellowship exams were quite a different ball game. And so it took me 10 years from 1984 to 1994 to get my fellowship, partly because my study technique was not effective. And so what I had to do was to figure out how to change that technique to make it work for me. And so once I sort of figured out what the right formula was, then everything sort of fell into place. So, so you talk about failure, and one of the things that you shouldn't necessarily conclude is just because you fail, it doesn't mean you don't have it in you. It just may mean that you're doing something not as effectively as you should. So to those of you who, this is a persistency game in terms of becoming an actuary. So that's the comments that sort of occurred to me that might be relevant to the discussions that you're having today. But if anybody has any other specific questions, I'm certainly willing to answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robinson. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be directing some questions to you as I see. So please, thank you for joining us. The actuary in me, when Mr. Robinson mentioned 1984 to 1994, and I actually did a mental calculation in my head. How long ago was that? But I had to stop, because then I had to remind myself that you're just starting your journey. So yeah, but that's very motivating. It shows that there are people that have gone ahead of us, and so we have people to look up to. So that is a pleasure having you here once again, sir. All right, moving on quickly to the Q&A. And I think this one was specifically directed to Alia. And we all started these exams personally with some kind of motivation. I got this, and you go into it. Then later you ask yourself, no, I don't got this. Then you start all over again. Then you come back, I think I've got this. So the question is, maintaining this motivation through multiple exams, we all know it can be very difficult. But for you, what specific mindset shift or habit made that difference for you, and to take you here to help you be consistent and, of course, pass your exams to where you are currently?
So I think calling it motivation is misleading. It's never going to be motivation. I'm never going to wake up wanting to study every day, because why would I? But what makes it easier, I think, or what makes the mind shift is that it's discipline. This is something I know I'm gonna do. This is something I said I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna study today. So that's the kind of like the shift in mindset. And I think also something that kept me motivated for a long time, or kept me disciplined for a long time, is recognizing that failure is okay and it's part of everyone's journey. So when you're able to recognize that, you don't need to stay motivated necessarily. You just need to stay disciplined. Motivation comes and goes. Some days I think I've got this, and some days I can't believe I still have to study for more exams.
Thanks, Alia. What I always say, whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it, just keep going. Some days you don't know how much you retain, even when you don't feel like it. Since you don't know, then just keep pushing. So thanks, Alia. And Hamline, this is for you. So there's someone here who's preparing, wants to be like one of the few female actuaries. Of course, we all know that there are the complexities, male and female, and of course, we're working towards the gender balance. But then you can't know how it's going to be except you've been there. So, Hamline, what would you advise this person who is writing exams as a female, and the goal is to be one of the female actuaries around? And this doesn't apply to Nigeria, where the person is from alone, generally for everyone across the Africa and of course in general the globe. So what would you advise?
Women in men-dominated fields. So I would tell them to keep going for it. It is not dictated which gender should progress. All of us have the same opportunity, and lucky for us in African countries, women are heavily empowered. So go for it, take up space, speak in those rooms, go for those opportunities. Don't be ashamed or don't be intimidated for being a woman.
Thanks, Hamline. Thanks. So just keep going, keep going. The opportunities are there. Look at the end and use it to motivate yourself. But thanks a lot. Evan, this one is for you directly. Where we are, we've heard a lot of things that say that AI is going to take over our jobs. And sometimes you ask yourself, are you really safe even in your house, whether AI will come into it? But as actuaries, we know that we do a lot of prediction, we do a lot of modeling and the analytical stuff like that. What makes the actuarial profession so uniquely positioned to solve those things that are really, should I say, underutilized, like literally what AI can do? What makes us really, really uniquely positioned to be able to solve those underappreciated and underutilized problems today, if you get what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a question that usually has differing remarks depending on who you ask. But from my perspective, I do believe that AI has a lot of potential, especially as a supporting tool to our work. I do know recently there was a math problem that was solved, I think, by ChatGPT, and it had not been solved before. So it is a supplementary tool to our work, especially given that there is a lot of human judgment that will still be needed in terms of even when you're setting reserves, pricing and all that. So I don't expect the human element to be totally removed. But we are still some sort of, or years away from AI being such a fundamental tool to, in a way, try and replace what we are doing. But I don't expect that to happen in all honesty. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So our jobs are saved. That's what Kelvin is telling us here. So, right, Kelvin? Thank you. So, Loïc, this is for you. So the question is, how did you pace your exams? Was it a case of after an exam you take a break, then you hit it hard, or are you somebody like me that the moment I finish an exam, I'm already preparing for the next one, so there's no break until the end? So how have you paced this? And the exams that you've passed, how have they really applied to what you do presently at work? Loïc?
Sorry, I was disconnected. Can you repeat the question?
Okay, yeah. Thanks. So I asked how you paced your exam. You know, some of us you take a break a bit, then you hit it hard. Then some you just continue so that you don't lose the momentum. All right. How do you try to pace your exams after each one to go into the next one? Then the ones that you've passed, how have they really helped with your work as you've gone along?
Okay.
Hope you got me.
Okay, I got you. So I can say that I have chose to take exam when doing the job. So I didn't take the path to leave the job and do the study and after doing the job. So the link with this exam and my job, they help me directly. For example, when I am at younger stage for reserving and pricing in non-life and the exam CASTAM, they help me to understand the activity of pricing in our company, to give insight and develop products. I can say that in our country, the product are old and there are some time we have to remake or to give a new product to the population. So we the different exam and the different topic that helps me really to modulate something to bring something new in the actual field. And during I can say for my pathway exam, I didn't take a break time. So when I finish an exam of my method, I continue with the other exam. So I said if I have finished an exam, I didn't wait for the result. I continue for the other to learn the material and how I manage if the past exam didn't work, so it's not a problem. So it is the time I take in mastering the concept for the new exam. It will help me to go very fast for the next time. So I didn't take a break. So I continue the path and at every step. And if I fail or if I have a good mark, I will readjust my study time and I continue. So the break time for me, it will be I didn't plan this.
Okay. Thanks, Loïc. That makes sense. So, Alia, this is for you. We hear that, and I think you started with this when you introduced yourself. I think mathematics, everybody seems to say, "Oh, I'm good in mathematics," and you just want to write exams simply because you are good in mathematics. But then, being an actuary is not the only numeric discipline that you have. You could as well take every other thing and you'll be fine. So the question is, why do I actually need to be an actuary simply because I'm good in maths? What is that thing that you think is that additional thing you get from being an actuary that will make this person think probably, this will work for me and it fits me?
I think it's a very rewarding profession. I've really enjoyed not just the mathematical part of it, but in general, just the analytics. I think to me personally is very interesting. So if that's something you enjoy, then actuarial science is a good path for you. But other than that, it's overall, I think, a very rewarding profession. You get a decent, I want to say not great, but decent work-life balance there, and and you're able to pursue careers in many different paths. So if you decide it's not for you, or whatever industry you start in is not for you, you have a lot of options open. So I think that's one of the benefits of being an actuary, is just all of the options it opens for you and all of the paths you can take.
Okay, thank you, Alia. And our time is pretty much fast spent. So I'll take one more question from the Q&A. And please let me say this, that if our questions has not been answered by the panelists that we have here, and that's because we believe that the SOA team that is on the call, they're in a better position to give answers to some of these questions, and I'm sure that they'll be answering this question. So don't be discouraged. I'm sure we'll get to the questions at the end of the day. So, Hamline, just because I can, I want you to give us an answer to this question that we have. This person is a university student just about to begin or just starting the journey And of course, you have the R, you have the AI and the snake-like coding materials, the Python that has the anaconda, you know what I mean? And this person literally is trying to say, what is the best way for the person to balance this, the predictive analytics, and how to balance this traditional risk theory with this modern data science skills that the person has. How do you think the person should balance it such that you'll be able to get the best of both worlds?
As much as there's AI, remember AI is being fed information by humans, so you still need that foundational knowledge. AI is making everything easy for us, but still, as a person, you think you still need to ground yourself to the basics. So learn the two. Don't neglect AI and don't focus too much on AI. Just learn to balance the two. Or even for AI, if you're prompting it to do something for you, make sure you understand it the traditional way, and then now you can prompt it to do something for you. Even writing those codes, try to figure them out fast when you're in before using AI. Even while studying, I'm sure you can take a picture of the question and put it on AI and it will solve it for you. But before doing that, just make sure you understand it yourself. It will help your mind to learn to do it rather than just being fed with information.
Yeah, thanks, Hamline. Yeah, thanks a lot. So, the summary of what Hamline has said is this: AI is supposed to help you sharpen your mind. It's not supposed to replace it. So as you're learning it, ensure that you're using both together, and I'm sure that you get the best of both worlds. Thank you so much to our panelists for their time. It's been an engaging session. I enjoyed every bit of it. And to everyone who has joined us here, it's been a great time having you and answering the question. But the last thing I would say is this: when you do experience analysis in the actuarial field, one of the assumptions is that the past will reflect the future. But one of the disclaimers is also that the past will not fully reflect the future. So please, the past of the actuaries that have given you insights on this call will not totally reflect your future. So you need to balance everything, apply it to yours. And of course, I'm sure you'll do well, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for having us, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks a lot, Larry. Thanks a lot, John. And
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next thing I think I want to say thank you very much to everybody. The questions have been amazing. So many questions. It's hard for us to keep up. We're trying to type everything and trying to get people to answer. But look, thank you. I will, as has been said, please do not despair about the fact that I see some in the comments worried about the fact that we're talking about failure so much. And I will point that out and just say, do not worry about that, because at the end of the day, your strength is not just in standing tall throughout, it's in falling and being able to stand up again. And it will come through in other aspects of your life. I assure you, resilience will be something that you will find yourself being well trained in. But anyway, I'm going to move on. We are going to talk about the other activities that ADA has coming up in the next couple of days and weeks. Let me see if I can make this a full screen. Okay, so here are some of our announcements of events that are coming up. The first is we tend to have fireside chats, and our next fireside chat is on the 11th of June. And here we will be having what we talk about beyond traditional actuarial roles. Alex Akerburu is going to be giving us that. He is an entrepreneur, a broker, an insurtech. He's doing something in health. So come listen to what other pathways are available to you as an actuary with an actuarial qualification. Cedric, who is the group chief CRO for Continental Re, will be moderating that session. I think it will be fantastic to glean from someone's different experience in that. Next, we will be having the CAS University Recognition Program. This is also talking through how the CAS is going to be, what opportunities they have for universities in the actuarial science program and how they support them in their journey. That will be on the 9th of June, similar time. Then we have a call for mentees. I think anybody who follows us on LinkedIn has seen this. We have a call for mentees. The deadline is the 14th of June. There's the QR code. It's part of our Pathways to Success program to see whether or not we can mentor a lot of African youths on their journey towards becoming an actuary. Then another one, date yet to be announced, but we have the CAS again coming to talk to us. They are offering us some free access, so we'll put that up on our LinkedIn at some point in time, to their CAS P&C Actuarial Essentials program. It's a course, a 6-week course, which is to give some fundamentals to those who are interested in non-life career. It's designed for students and early career professionals. We will be asking for people to nominate themselves, and we will be picking our cohort very soon. Do follow us on LinkedIn so that you see when this gets advertised. Then we just make sure I haven't left something. We ask people to volunteer. That's something we are super keen.
So please do volunteer with Ada. We have many roles. We've got social media, we've got mentorship coordinators. We're looking for somebody to help with our webinars and early learning, mentors for the individual mentorship program, tutorial coordinators. We are looking to expand our community. So please do scan the QR code, go to the link, decide how, if there's anything you can do to help us as we grow the actual profession in Africa. Lastly, some of the other items that we have outstanding is there will be a CAS pathway that's on the 7th of July, similar to this with the CAS. The IFOA will talk about its university accreditation program, how your universities can be accredited. That will be on the 13th of August. Then we will have some individual mentorship programs, and we'll start with the Pathways to Success on the 6th of July. So again, follow us on LinkedIn. We tend to advertise heavily on that. And then finally, we do have a WhatsApp group. We have Ada Connect, which is our WhatsApp group, and we have a lot of different subgroups in there. Do connect with us on WhatsApp. You'll be able to hear things as well via that channel and be able to connect, and we'll be able to post things if you miss it on LinkedIn, because sometimes the LinkedIn algorithm does stuff that nobody understands. You will see it on the WhatsApp group. So please do connect with us on the WhatsApp group. And then finally, just to let you know that we do have a website and we have a YouTube channel where most of our videos, when we have our webinars, we tend to put them on YouTube. So if you've missed something or you want to look at our archive, please go onto YouTube. You see a lot of our fireside chats and some of the presentations that we've had with the SOA in the past on the VE, the UCAP. You'll see those on our YouTube channel. So that's there for everybody to share. Thank you. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Yvonne, next Yeah. we need to deal The with winners. I'm going to hand Yes. over to you to deal with the next bit. Yes, wonderful. So we do have our winners from the exam fee waiver certificate. So thank you everyone There were a ton of questions. At one point, I almost just gave up. But yes, there were so many questions. Thanks for being so interactive. And actually, I even wonder if maybe we can download the Q&A and maybe we can try and address them in maybe a separate webinar or something just to help people out because there were so many very interesting questions. So yes, so drum roll, please. We do have 2 winners, and they are James Motlame from South Africa and Ivy Ocheng from Kenya. Well done to both of you. I think James gave us no choice. He was all over the chat and all over the Q&A with lots of very interesting questions. So thank you very much, James. And also Ivy challenged us with her question about championing Africa. And also just to remind people, I think that's also in line with her question, that ADA does offer various programs, as Yeside showed, that try to translate what we're learning into the African environment and into your day-to-day work as an actuary based in Africa. So well done to you guys, and thank you so much. And I think with that, all that's left is just to say thank you to everybody and have a wonderful day.